sucked, Kath.
That was quite a doozy.
It really was. Doozy. I'm Noelle Hoffmeister.
I'm Cathy D'Alessandro.
We are with Get Up and Teach. We seek to marry emotions and education and how they go together and all the things that happen because of it. So like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. So this year is over. Thank God. Because
it was a doozy.
It was so tough.
What a great and appropriate
right?
rule.
That was the only word we could come up with.
Yeah.
It was so tough. It was so heavy. It was so hard. It was,
Yeah.
and no matter how you were teaching,
Yep.
it was difficult. We were in person. It was hard. There were people that were virtual the whole year.
Yeah.
It was hard. There were
Hybrid.
people doing hybrid. It was hard. It was hard. The door closes, right? You do your sign out, blah, 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 and your classroom door shuts, and you're carrying your bag that you may or may not do the work inside. You know, sometimes you carry it home and then it sits by the door for the whole summer. But
you just bring it back and forth every
right?
day.
Because it just makes you feel
Lifting
good.
weights. Yeah.
But you're carrying all this, I don't even know what you'd call it, baggage. And the question is, what do we do with all that stuff, Kath?
Yeah. Let me put on my counseling hat.
Please put on your counseling hat.
I think that when we end a school year, there's a lot of emotion. You're sad to see kids leave. You're happy to see some kids leave.
Kids.
You're sad to see some of your colleagues leave. You're happy to see some of your colleagues leave. I mean, some of your admins. And you could play that on both sides of it, right? So, but the added piece was the elements that were totally out of our control this year. Like, there was just so much that was out of our control. So we do leave somewhat burdened, and then we do know that we're going to sign a contract and go back next year. So I think we need to process healthy, and we need to reflect healthy. I think that the best growth happens over the summer for teachers that reflect at this time on the academics, on the relational piece, and on just classroom management. So what did your data say? What are the relationships with students, parents, colleagues? And then, what was the burden? What went well and what didn't go collectively, big, broad, right? So we got to reflect and then own the good and the bad with each of it.
So I have to really intentionally look and feel what I didn't do well at instead of avoiding it.
Yes. And then, here's the other thing. I'm going to be honest. You got to separate fact from emotion. And I have emotions. I mean, some might claim I don't, but I can't filter everything through the how I feel and the emotion. I have to separate the fact, because not everything was as bad as I made it, or everything and I got to take the constructive criticism as a way to get better and not as a personal attack, or so I've got to take the emotions out of the fact. So I've got to own what's mine, and then learn from and let go of what I can't own. I can't pick that up as a defining piece for me. So my nugget: reflect, own, and separate emotion from facts. Is that harsh? Is that bad?
No, it's not harsh at all.
I don't know. Because it was a hard year for all of us.
It was.
I mean, we're just
exhausted.
We're just tired. It takes a couple weeks to unwind, maybe a week or so. And then, because you just feel like you're so busy still, and then you finally get to a place where you can almost be still a little bit.
And relax.
And think. But your best PD professionally will come if you actually process through whatever you're feeling, or whatever went well or went poorly.
Because if you don't, what will happen is you'll find yourself in a similar spot
next year,
not having conquered what you need to conquer.
Or grow in the academic area that you had weaknesses. And it could be just tweaking a little something here or there, but if you don't reflect on like the academic or the data of it, you're missing a whole year. You'll just duplicate what you do, because that's what we do.
Instead of growing.
And our goal is to grow. That's what we're supposed to do. And, next year's going to be new. It's going to look different. But what if some parts still look the same?
Right.
What do you do with that?
I'm reading a great book that a friend of ours told me to read called John Eldredge's, he's the author, and it's called Get Your Life Back. And his whole point, and I love this, is that we have to be careful that when we're burdened or emotional, that we don't grab relief instead of restoration. Yeah. So when the door closes and we're emotional and heavy and we want to grab the beer, and we do, and that's okay, but that's not going to restore us. Yeah. It'll lighten the load and we'll feel better, but it's not going to grow us, make us better, restore us, make us whole, feed our soul, etc.
So, yeah, that's a good word. And determining what that is different for everyone.
It is.
In that restoration piece. But the beauty of our job is that we are given a great schedule. Mm-hmm. We are given a great opportunity. Our job is hard. I don't care what media says or parents say, or it's emotionally hard and academically hard. And our time in the school is a full-time job because the hours and the emotions that we have to put in to pour in to have kids grow academically and as little people or big people. Mm-hmm. So the relief versus restoration is something that will make you have long-term stamina for this job. It's not for everybody, for sure, and people will get out. But finding that balance and finding that way to restore yourself is the way you were able to continue on. Summarize that the reason that we want to find a place of restoration and relief, as opposed to relief, is that we can be in this thing called teaching for a long time. Because the burnout comes from the Band-Aid and the medicating and the not processing and reflecting that causes us to go, who needs this? Forget it. It's not worth it, because our burden is more of a responsibility for the hearts and minds of other people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get that if I was a greeter at a grocery store.
That's right.
And that's okay too. But you don't carry that one home.
Yeah.
You don't.
No.
And we chose this, so
you're right.
We have to figure it out.
Thanks for joining us today as we figured out how to take this year and process it so we don't become bitter.
Not bitter.
Not better.
Better. Not bitter. Better.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.